Antonio Brown for the 36-yard touchdown. Buccaneers lead 9-0 after the point. After the touchdown is blocked. Brown finished 2 receptions, 49 yards and a touchdown. Taylor Heineke getting the start for Alex Smith. Washington trailing 18-10. Heineke 3rd and 5 at the Buccaneers 8. Scrambles, dives, gets in the end zone. Let's take a look at that extension again. Look at that. Highlight right there.
Starting quarterback tonight.
That's what I'm talking about. May have earned himself a spot on this roster next year. Fourth quarter, Buccaneers ball leading 21-16. Leonard Fournette, 3-yard touchdown. Bucs lead 28-16. Fournette, 19 rushes, 93 yards and a touchdown. Ensuing Washington possession, Taylor Heineke hits Steven Sims Jr. 11-yard touchdown. What a throw. Look at the toe drag. Swag. Nate B, where you at? Great job by Taylor on the football. Look, Tom did not agree with that. That's unbelievable. I heard him in my hotel room screaming that. Taylor, one last chance to try to do something. Heaves it up there. Knocked down by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Great job by this Washington football team. Great effort. With Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, they move on to fight another day. Here's Tom Brady after his 31st.
You know, we had opportunities to pull away and just couldn't quite do it. Didn't score enough points in the red area. So certainly a lot to improve on, but great to get a win. You know, you'd love to play great every game. You know, I think it's good to win in advance. And, you know, if we don't play well next week, you know, we're not gonna be happy. So glad we won. Glad we got another week of work. And we're going to go in there and try to do a much better job this week and get ready for whoever our opponent is. It's going to be a good one. And, you know, we're going to have to go play great football.
Bucs weren't sure if they were headed over to Green Bay, to New Orleans. They didn't know, but they do now. And it'll be part 3 because these guys took care of business. It wasn't easy. First half, Saints kind of slow out of the gates, getting the offense going. Bears defense played really well. Mike Thomas gets in the end zone. Now here comes Mitchell Trubisky. Could you get any offense going? Well, we had this crazy trick play. Cordero Patterson to Trubisky on a reverse. Javon Wims is open.
They got to catch it.
You almost felt like the entire Bears team had the stomach punch after that one. Wims comes out, and I don't know. Of course, there's history with Wims and the Saints. So earlier this year, he was ejected that day. He have problems in this game. And it wasn't just Javon Wims who was upset with that player, Gardner Johnson. This was Anthony Miller from week 8. Okay, that was then. This is now. Grabs him, Anthony Miller. They were not having it. Everyone points to him. Lattimore's like, wait, we're not putting up with this. So Anthony Miller, who's a key player on this offense.
Peter, that might be his last day as a Bear.
I was going to say, he's an early round draft pick out of Memphis.
I put running back.
Nothing.
Zone.
Latavius Murray throwing a block, then gets into reception mode. Latavius Murray has guest hosted this show several times. We have a personal connection to him. Great dude. Happy to see him get
awesome guy.
Playoff victory. Alvin Kamara, he gets a playoff victory. He gets a touchdown. That would be it. Bears, the way their offense was going, there was no way they were scoring 18 points and coming back from this one. They would have a late touchdown, but not after.
There you go.
A little Balin Brees, gritty, a little bring on Brady. Part 3, we've got it. And here's Drew Brees, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, on getting a victory and having to face another greatest quarterback to ever play the game, Tom Brady, in the divisional round.
Listen, the minute that he signed with the Bucs and came in the division, you know, you felt like, you know, that was going to be a team to contend with. That was going to be a team that had playoff aspirations and beyond, just like us. So I guess it was inevitable. This is playoff football. You know, each game becomes obviously more meaningful, and you've got to continue to fine tune and find ways to play your absolute best football.
Drew Brees saying it's inevitable. I imagine Tom Brady on the other side wanted Drew Brees, wanted it to go this way. He has to go now through a tough opponent in the Saints and Drew Brees again, then Aaron Rodgers to get to, but maybe Patrick Mahomes, a tough one for Tom Brady down the stretch here. But we love this NFC South showdown in the divisional round. Truly meant to be. How good do we feel about Brady and Tampa Bay heading into the Bucs Saints Part 3, Kyle?
Feeling great about the matchup. I mean, an absolute treat. Peter talked earlier in the show about how Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes had played before in college. You go back to 1999, the Boilermakers versus the Wolverines. Brees and Brady have done it.
Come on, talk about it.
Big Ten. I'm talking Anthony Thomas. The A train was rolling that day. Here's how I feel. The Bucs are the A train right now. They're absolutely rolling. They have won, I think, 5 in a row. Their last loss was to the Chiefs. Here's what I take away from this game the other night. There's a first ballot Hall of Famer named Rob Gronkowski who didn't have a catch. He had 1 target in the whole game because he was blocking his butt off, sometimes one-on-one against Chase Young. And that's the Bucs right now. They're flush with weapons. Chris Godwin had a really rough game, and it still didn't matter. I know this wasn't pretty, and you want him to blow out Washington and Taylor Heineke. They haven't lost in a long time. Saints have had their number this year, for sure. I just still think this is a different Buccaneers team either time that faced the Saints, and they're doing these things where Gronk is not even involved in the passing game whatsoever, and they're still winning playoff games. Tom Brady's making all of us middle-aged guys look terrible. Yeah. He was great in this game at 43 years old, and this is Boilermakers versus Wolverines. We'll talk about it all week.
Kyle, you look pretty good. I would say this. I don't feel any better about the Buccaneers. I feel a little worse. I thought they should have blown out Heineke. Yeah. You know, Alex Smith right before the game, inactive. Here comes Heineke. Now look, they didn't do what the Steelers did. They didn't completely just not show up. They won
Saints weren't great either.
Saints weren't great either, but they didn't. I felt like this should have been the 40-0. Let's take care of business. Really? Let's show everyone in the NFC. I really do. I feel like we're clicking, and this was way too competitive. And you know what? Chris Godwin, in any other game, we'd be talking about this because 4 drops is unacceptable from a wide receiver. Chris Godwin had a really tough game. So I say all that because now you regroup and you say, okay, we didn't play our best football. We probably wouldn't have beaten 25 teams in the NFL playing like that against them this weekend. Now we get another chance, and we get another chance at Brees. And the Saints have embarrassed them twice now. I don't feel like that was the game that was like, okay, we're the hot team. If anything, it was, all right, we escaped. Let's get it together. As a Bucs fan, you can't feel great.
Vulnerable?
Very vulnerable. You can't feel great just getting out of there with an 8-point victory over Heineke when he didn't know he was starting until a minute before the game.
You guys got to know, I went to a playoff game, won a playoff game with a 7-9 record. So to me, I look at the Washington football team as being a tough out. They're playing with house money. You can do whatever you want to do. Nobody's expecting you to win. So I did kind of think that game would be a little bit closer. But when you look at this New Orleans Saints matchup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think it's going to be a totally different game this time around. Ali Marpet is playing, their left guard, which everybody knows when you're protecting Tom Brady, you have to protect him from inside out. And in that last game, week 8, when Tom Brady threw 3 picks and got hit, got sacked, got beat up. I don't mean to put this all on one player, but backup left guard Joe Haig did not have a good game. Right now, they're using him as like their 6th offensive lineman in their heavy packages. That's more how you use that guy. Do not use him up at your left guard because he got worked by the New Orleans Saints defensive line in that second matchup. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing better football. I wouldn't be discouraged by this game last week. I think the Washington football team gave them some things that they didn't expect, but they escaped with the win. That's the most important thing.
Never apologize for a win.
Never apologize for a win. Yeah, most Super Bowl teams get a few ugly wins in there, right? And they find a way to win the football game. I think this game will be a little bit different. I think they'll run the ball a little bit more with a little bit more authority. In that last matchup, Ronald Jones had 9 rushing yards.
Are we worried about their run game?
I'm not necessarily worried. I'm worried about Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich not calling it enough because Tom Brady, he's not just a straight drop back guy that's going to throw the ball 50 yards down the football field. He needs that play action. He needs the run game. And I think that's what happened early in the season. We saw Tom Brady needing a certain offense. Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich have their way of looking at offense. And toward the end of the season, they kind of merged it all together. I like what I'm seeing from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I want to talk about what we saw the Saints do yesterday. Not the matchup against Tampa Bay yet, but how they got there after Chicago and what we can take away from that. The adjustments that they made after halftime were were really impressive to me. I was sunk into my couch. I did not flip on the Nickelodeon version. I loved Nate, wanted to support him. I was too stressed out in the first half. There was too much gadgetry happening.
Yeah, there you go.
I was not here for it. I was not here for the tricks. I was not here for the sideline to sideline stuff. I wanted like north-south, let's go. You have Kamara, Michael Thomas, and they weren't in a rhythm. Sean Payton told Tracy Wolfson that yesterday. We heard it on the broadcast on CBS. And in the second half, I was like, oh, okay, let me flip over and see people get slimed because it was